So moving on to our next subject, and I'm super excited about this one. Zack Snyder's Justice League. So this official question is, what are your thoughts on Zack Snyder's Justice League versus the Joss Whedon version? So it's not just what are your thoughts on Zack Snyder's Justice League, but your thoughts on Zack Snyder's Justice League in comparison to the Joss Whedon version. So I think we threw that last one to PAT. So we'll start with you, E-Man. What say you, sir?
All right. So nobody kill me. This is just the nerd in me. So, all right. I'm still not changing anything. They need to recast Ben Affleck as Batman. I don't care, but that needs to change and whatnot. First thing that I'm always keep that on my mind. So they need to probably when they go to the next one, they need to just recast Batman and whatnot. The original, like the first one that was made, it wasn't all that bad. I actually enjoyed the first one than this 4-hour-long movie.
Whoa, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I'll tell you. And the reason why I'm telling everyone this is that, the 4-hour version, they had some really good scenes. They had some amazing scenes. My best scene, all right, this might sound crazy. My best scene, when the horrible Ben Affleck Batman, comes in confrontation of the Joker. I sat there, my mouth watered, and I was like, my damn, because for many people who don't know, that Batman's worst supervillain that he hates the most is Joker, because he will never, ever change his persona, because if you are a really good comic head, Batman really wants to kill the Joker because Batman is a superhero that is righteous, but is also injustice in the mind and whatnot. That's how I see Batman. And I loved it because I finally got a chance to give me something that I really wanted to see, and I definitely enjoyed it, And I felt in that 4-hour movie, they gave really good scenes and clips at really good moments, and I really enjoyed that. But the movie was too damn long. Just putting it out there, it was too damn long. Too damn long. I even told, PAT and I Angel that it was going to take me a while because it was a 4-hour movie and whatnot. Because that's too much screen time for me for a whole movie. Keep my mind in it. So it took me 2.5 days to watch that thing and whatnot. But that's the one thing he did an excellent job with the scenery for that 4-hour movie. He did a really excellent job. I wish it wasn't 4 hours, but he really focused on certain scenes to make it pop. And I will give him that, So the first one, the 2-hour version one, it was basically straight to the point, but there were missing holes in that story. So they made it feel that, we're going to give you guys more and we're just going to leave it as that.
Okay. Gotcha. Yes, sir. All right, Mr. PAT, what say you, sir?
All right. This is a great topic and couldn't wait to do this one.
Me
As
too.
we all know, I'm a comic nerd also. I'm a dork. We're all dorks on here. So this one, I'm not going to lie, it could be a little long-winded, but I will try my best to get through it as fast as I can. So I thought Zack Snyder's Justice League was awesome. It was the Justice League that we, the fans, deserved. It was the Justice League movie that should have been in the theaters from the get-go. At this point, when it comes to Joss Whedon's version of Justice League, I try to forget that version happened. I mean, I'm not being honest. I'm just being real.
Damn.
Yeah, I'm just being real. Like I
thought the first one was okay.
No, that first one was garbage. But
man said I tried to forget.
Yeah, I really do. Like I remember certain parts, but honestly, I'm just trying to erase it from my memory. Like I'm just trying to, I'm just trying to pretend like it just didn't happen. I'm just trying to,
in the trash.
I just want to make sure that those 2 hours of my life I forget. So, so, and really, I think Warner Brothers, when we look at this, I think Warner Brothers should be ashamed of themselves. They should be ashamed of themselves for putting out the Joss Whedon version of Justice League, because like I said before, that version was garbage. It was straight trash. It was as we all know, it was partially Zack Snyder's vision, and it was mixed with Joss Whedon's edits. Overall, it was just a dumb decision on Warner Brothers' part for even allowing that to happen.
Damn.
So what I'll say also is, we know that Zack Snyder has a certain approach to his filmmaking. Love it or hate it, the approach is unique, and it's what Zack Snyder films are known for. So we could ask, well, what are Zack Snyder's films known for? They are known for being extremely visually appealing. They are known for action scenes that tend to use what's called speed ramping, and they are known for intense action. Also, his movies tend to use more muted colors than other movies. If you notice, a lot of movies, especially superhero movies, the colors are brighter or they're sharper in contrast. Those are some of the key things, and for better or worse, what makes Zack Snyder's films polarizing. And speaking of polarizing, Man of Steel was a very polarizing movie. I thought the movie was dope. And
it was dope.
To my knowledge, it did okay critically. On the fan side of things, it was very controversial. And the thing is, it was controversial for a few reasons. One of them being the destruction and the high death toll, and another being Superman snapping Zod's neck at the end of the film. I personally had no issues with any of it. And I'll just be honest, I'm not even a fan of Superman. I'm not like I always thought Superman was corny. Like growing up, because Batman's my favorite superhero.
Yes.
Yeah, Batman's my favorite, and I always thought Superman was just corny. So for me to even like a Superman movie, that says a lot. And I did like Man of Steel. So I personally had no issues with what took place in that movie. I like that particular movie because it was a realistic take. It was a realistic approach to Superman, and really just superheroes in general, when you think about it. My thing is, if a Superman existed in real life, it would be Henry Cavill's Superman. And if Superman was fighting other beings just as powerful as he is, a lot of people would either be seriously injured or killed. Let's just be real.
I agree.
So Zack Snyder gave us a realistic take to what we call the superhero. Really, I don't even think super heroics should be all glitz and glamour. It shouldn't be like all lightheartedness and a bunch of jokes. No disrespect to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I mean, I fuck with some of their movies, but it just can't be all like lightheartedness and a bunch of jokes. Because if you think about it, if you have gods fighting in the real world, that would actually be a nightmare. And this was also Zack Snyder's approach in Batman vs. Superman. That was a movie where Superman was being held accountable for the death and destruction that was caused in Man of Steel. Now going to Ben Affleck's Batman, who is based on Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns Batman. He's based on that version. He would be that person to see Superman as a threat. So as we all know, Batman and Superman had their confrontation. After that,
hate each other.
Right, they hated each other. They had their confrontation. They squashed the beef. Later on, they linked up with Wonder Woman to fight Doomsday. Superman dies as a result of being murdered by Doomsday. Now let's fast forward to Zack Snyder's Justice League, and we get Zack Snyder's intended vision for this movie. What we get with this movie is a more fleshed out movie. We get a movie that is not disjointed like the 2017 version was. And really, Zack Snyder's Justice League, it just made more sense story-wise. Everything was more cohesive. The pacing was much better. That the color grade that Zack Snyder is known for, the muted colors, that was back in this film. The action is more violent and it's intense, more intense, as I think it should be. And not for the sake of gratuitous violence, because you don't want to just be violent just for the sake of being violent. When it comes to these types of movies and you got superheroes who can do God knows what fighting in the real world, it definitely needs to be much more violent and intense. I just think you need to see how dangerous these people are. This is one of my reasons that I like Zack Snyder's DC universe. I mean, people love to say that his superhero movies are too dark or they're too serious, but really his take is just more grounded. And like I said before, quite a few times, it would just be more realistic. But we all know this is fictional stuff. The world of superheroes, however, is still based in real life principles and real life physics. Zack Snyder's Justice League, along with his other DC movies, also approach superheroes from a mythological standpoint. That's something I really like. They approach it from a more mythological standpoint. The superheroes and the supervillains are treated more as larger than life. Zack Snyder's comic book movies are really, in a sense, they're live action graphic novels. And I say that because they are really, I mean, they're aesthetically better than any other superhero movie. And when you look at Zack Snyder's movies, you can pause certain scenes, you can pause certain moments. And I swear to you, the shots look like they come straight out of a comic book. Like there's like certain poses that each character does, or like, for example, like the Flash running, or like when the way he was running in the end, when he went back in time, or when Batman was standing on top of that the statue, when him and the Flash and Wonder Woman and Cyborg met up with Commissioner Gordon. Just the way he was standing on that statue and the way that storm was showing, and it was like flashing and you could see his cape flowing. If you pause that scene, that's straight out of a comic book right there. So I think Zack Snyder does a great job with that on the visual aspect. Now there are certain nitpicks I might have, certain things I don't really care for. Like, you know, one of them being like the girls singing in the beginning, the scene where Bruce Wayne met up with Aquaman. That, you know, that I was just like, what is this scene in here for? You know, I have a few other nitpicks, but for the most part, Zack Snyder's Justice League was an excellent film from top to bottom. I mean, his Justice League was just more fleshed out and had more depth. It has more character development, especially for the Flash and Cyborg, which was very important, especially Cyborg, because as many people have said, he was the heart of the movie.
What about Aquaman, though?
The stake, yeah, Aquaman too. He was a little bit more fleshed out, and really the stakes was higher. Like the stakes were just higher. We get more characters, and we really see their true power. We see how truly powerful these people are. Steppenwolf actually looked like a real threat.
True.
He looked
I'll give him that. I'll give him that.
His armor was sharp looking, more metallic looking, just more dangerous. He just looked like a real threat. And I like the fact that you got to see more of him and how he works for Darkseid. And speaking of Darkseid, as we all know, he made a few appearances in the film, which I think was good. You know, he wasn't in there too much, but at least we got to see, okay, next, you know, for the sequel, hopefully there will be a sequel, but if there is a sequel, this is the next dude that they got to face.
I doubt it's going to have a sequel.
Right.
Hopefully it does. Hopefully it does.
I doubt it.
But just to, you know, wrap this up, you know, we're not just hearing his name like we did, and I'm talking Darkseid. I'm still talking about Darkseid. Like in the 2017 version, all we did was just hear his name.
Right.
At least with this version, you actually get to see who this guy is, and you get a glimpse of how much of a threat he will be. I also like the fact that Martian Manhunter was in the movie, which that was a nice surprise.
Yes, exactly.
That plus the scene where Aquaman and Wonder Woman kill Steppenwolf and send his head back to Darkseid. That I love that part.
That was dope.
Yes, it was.
And really something like that was really dope. And I think it should leave room for a sequel. I mean, you know, but
the reason why I'm not to cut you off, Pete. The reason why is that DC is working on a lot of movies at the moment because supposedly we're supposed to be getting Cyborg, a new Flash movie. We got the Black Adam, and I think you're doing another sequel to Shazam, supposedly.
Well, the Cyborg one is a little iffy because I don't know if y'all been keeping up with what's been going on with Ray Fisher and behind the scenes with Joss Whedon. There's been some issues. So the Cyborg movie is definitely it's a little on the iffy side, but those other movies are on the plate. You know, those are supposed to come out. So.
Okay. Excellent. All right, sir. Great synopsis. So this is actually the topic that I've been the most excited to discuss in today's session because the super dork in me have watched the movie and watched the movie again because I had to just get my mind right about what I wanted to say. So let me say this. I am literally in the position of hating the fuck out of this film. So I love it compared to the Joss Whedon film because the specific question was, what are your thoughts on Zack Snyder's Justice League versus the Joss Whedon film? So compared to the Joss Whedon version, it's just 10 times better. The Joss Whedon version was complete horseshit. Okay?
I thought it was okay.
EAP, no.
Horseshit.
EAP, I would like to just pretend like I didn't spend multiple hours because I've watched it more than once. Because here's the thing.
You watched that movie more than once?
Listen to me.
I only watched it twice.
Such a huge comic book Marvel, DC. Okay, Marvel, DC, and Star Wars. There is no movie that was released by any of those three genres that I have not seen multiple times. Literally. I've literally seen every Star Wars movie, The Mandalorian, any content that has come out about Star Wars, I've seen it more than once. Same thing for Marvel and DC, okay? For some reason, even though that Joss Whedon movie is very shitty, I'm still such a huge DC fan that I want to see those characters. It's like a release.
Right. That's how I feel.
The movie is shitty.
So not even to cut you off, because I watch a lot of the DC anime, like
yes, me too. I've seen all of them. I think
they're killing it in that arena.
Yeah, yes.
See, I watch those multiple times because they actually get their shit together on those.
Exactly.
I can name like 6 of them that I just watched. That I can say I watched at least about 5 to 7 times, maybe 8.
Yeah, I've seen all of those multiple times, like all of them. The Batman ones, The Killing Joke. I've seen Justice League, Dark Apokolips. I've seen Red Superman. I've seen, like, if it's an animation that came out from DC.
Have you seen Batman Hush?
Yes, I did like it.
That shit was amazing.
I didn't like it.
That was really dope.
It was dope, but it was very predictable to me. I just think that they could have. Okay, Hush was a little bit better than The Killing Joke to me,
Yeah, it is.
But I still liked the Killing Joke too. But it wasn't my favorite one. But it wasn't the worst thing in the world. I wasn't in love with it. But okay, so back to Zack Snyder's Justice League. So let me tell you why I love Whedon. I love the fact that he gave way more depth to these characters than Joss Whedon did in his version. It was an absolute necessity. He took the time on some very important scenes to elaborate and give us more detail. For instance, that bank robbing scene in the beginning with Wonder Woman. Now, a lot of people said that was very dark and he was about to kill the kids and people didn't like that, etc.
Oh, but
as Pat said, this is DC, bro. This is not Marvel, where they're mostly making movies just to reach a largest audience as possible. And they're not really going to stir the bag, but so much because they want to get a certain profit. DC, they are a little raunchier. First of all, their characters are not really for children. That's what people don't realize about DC. People confuse things, especially when it comes to Batman, because they had the Adam West 60s show where Batman was all goofy and shit. Batman has always been a dark character.
Yeah,
always.
Absolutely.
Always been a dark character. And that's why he's my favorite too, Pat. Batman is my favorite comic hero, period. He's one of my favorite characters at all in general. But that is why, because he is not a superhero for children. He really isn't. Certain things happened over time, like all those silly ass colorful Tim Burton ones, like Batman and Robin and Batman Forever and etc. And then the Adam West thing, where people started getting this sullied image of Batman. That's not who he is. He's dark, he's brooding, he's an asshole. He is about making sure that justice is served.
That's why Ben Affleck can't play Batman.
Well, he's crazy.
I mean, he played that version. He played it well, though.
Yeah, he's doing a good job with this version of Batman, in my opinion. But I understand your argument, but I think he's doing well for this version. But so I like the depth that Zack Snyder gave to the characters. It was necessary. Okay. I also like the scenes where Darkseid was being reflected appropriately. Let me tell you, that scene where he actually gets smashed in the neck by Ares with the axe and he falls back and everything else, that was a little too vulnerable for my taste for Darkseid. You kind of take away from the effects of Darkseid by showing him so easily defeated in the beginning, although I understand his intent. I wouldn't have done it, but I understood the intent. Right. Okay, that's one of my flaws with the movie. The other is Zack Snyder suffers from a serious case of inability to fucking edit. You don't need 16 minutes of the Flash saving the one girl and playing with a hot dog. I don't give a fuck about that scene enough to spend 16 minutes watching it. First of all, you slowed down Flash way too much in this movie. You can't. The awesomeness of the Flash character is obviously his speed, and I get what you were implying, that he goes so fast that you have to slow it down in order to get the perspective of how fast he's actually going. They did something similar with Quicksilver on the Marvel side. Okay, but here is the thing. No one actually likes Ezra Miller. No one wants to see him for too long being the focus, because the dude is whack as Flash and is off-putting. Second of all, his run is so stupid that you've emphasized how stupid he looks when he's doing that Flash run. Like, bruh, stop it.
Oh, the paradox.
Stop it. Exactly.
The Flash paradox.
Yeah, he went entirely too long with that Flash scene. He went entirely too long with that scene with Lois getting the coffee for the cop. Why was that shit 29,000 minutes? No one needed to spend 29,000 minutes watching Lois get the coffee for the cop. We got the message you were trying to send. She does that every day. It's been a rite of passage since Superman died. We get it. 20 seconds, bro. You can do that shit in 20 seconds, not 29,000 minutes. Okay?
The 29,000 minutes?
I exaggerate. It's not
It was
29,000 minutes.
It was very
It's
long.
not 29,000 minutes, but you know, it was pretty. It was a long scene.
Gotcha.
It was very long.
Like, that's a lot of minutes.
Yeah, right. He just suffers from. No, 29,000 minutes is a complete exaggeration. He just suffers from not editing in the proper places. He did great with adding some content that Joss Whedon's did not have. The reanimation of Steppenwolf. Steppenwolf actually looks harrowing, which he's supposed to. Okay, he is the right-hand man to Darkseid. He should have looked harrowing in the first one. He did a much better job with it, Zack Snyder did, than Joss Whedon. Okay, the content he added to each one of the characters, the highlights and emphasis on Cyborg's character. I like Cyborg. He's one of my favorite Teen Titans. I think he did a great job, and later members of the Justice League. I was super excited about seeing Martian the Manhunter, and the fact that he's secretly revealed to be the captain in the previous Man of Steel movies. You know, the one who plays Dresser in 5 Heartbeats. He turned out to be him the whole time. I was super hype about that. Overall, I loved so many aspects of the movie, but I also hated so many aspects of the movie. So in comparison to Joss Whedon's, I will take Zack Snyder's any day. But overall, was it like the greatest DC movie ever? No. I still think Batman versus Superman was better.
You're lying to yourself. That movie was shit.
What? Crazy, sir.
You gotta watch the ultimate version.
God.
Superman was the shit.
Me and PAT was going at it when that joint came out, and I kept on that joint was shit.
Oh my gosh, bro!
The death of Superman was 10 times better than that. And they took three fucking comics to make that one day movie. I was like,
that movie was super fucking lit, especially so like there are like so many scenes in that movie. But when you think about the relationship of Ben Affleck's Batman with Superman, it was spot on.
Yeah, they nailed it.
Pat said earlier, it would be that version of Batman that will see Superman as a threat because of everything he has experienced as Batman. And because of everything he understands about Superman's abilities, he did what Batman would do in that situation in trying to find a solution to the quote unquote Superman problem. The shit was spot on.
Yeah, it was spot on.
I couldn't do it.
Another thing too is with Batman versus Superman, the one that was in the theater, that actually was chopped down. Just like Joss Whedon's Justice League, basically the time was chopped down. So the editing for the theatrical version of Batman vs Superman was terrible. It was just atrocious, and I think that contributed to why people think it's a bad movie. But if you get the Batman vs Superman Ultimate Edition, and that's actually available on HBO Max as well. More time, they added a half hour more, and it definitely fleshes things out much more. The editing is not nearly as bad as it was in the theatrical version, and I think that's another thing too that people need to realize, because they see the theatrical version and how bad the editing and how certain parts weren't there, and you know, of course, people say that there are plot holes and all this other stuff. Well, the Ultimate Edition fills those holes up and it fleshes things out more. So when you add more time to a movie, that helps. But when you cut back the time, that's gonna hurt a movie. That's just gonna hurt a movie in the theater. And that's what happened with Batman vs Superman and Joss Whedon's Justice League. The time was cut back. So that's a lot of what made these movies, I guess, bad, especially Batman vs Superman, which is not bad at all. I think it's a great movie, and I'll defend it to the death. I mean, it is what it is.
I couldn't.
That movie was the
I
shit.
can't do it. I only watched it once. That's how bad it was for me. I went to theaters to go watch that thing. I came out the theater. I was pissed as shit. I was like,
well, yeah,
man,
like I said, that the editing was bad on that one, and like they cut the time, they cut back too much time, and the movie was actually intended to be 3 hours. I think it was 3 hours. I think they said, but the ultimate edition is 2.5 hours, so it adds a half hour to the theatrical version, which was 2 hours. So all that makes a difference.
Man, that movie was good as hell. I don't know what y'all talking about. Batman versus Superman was one of the best DC movies that came out compared to like.
I think so.
Superman and
Shazam
was 10 times better than Batman versus Superman.
What?
I'm telling you this right now. Not bullshit. I'm telling you this right now. I was, and when it comes, I tell everyone, when it comes to these DC anime like movies, like I'm on it. I'm gonna tell you how bad I'm on. I be on Google waiting for the next one to come out. The last one I saw was the Deathstroke joint. I think it's called Nights and something. That one was amazing. And I watched that joint 6 times and whatnot. Literally 6 times. All right. I haven't watched Batman Superman since it came out. I have not even attempted to watch it. I've only watched it once, and I told myself I'm not watching that monstrosity ever again. And nothing's not going to change it because I haven't sat down, and that movie's been an afterthought since I watched it in theaters. Like I lost my mind. Like when I left theaters, I was like, man, I waited a whole fucking year to watch this movie, and the shit came out not the way I wanted it to come out. I lost it as like my man was looking at me. He thought I was crazy and whatnot after the movie's over. Like I was like, man, I can't. I was like, until DC get their shit together, I'm gonna go sit here and watch all the anime ones. So yeah, that's.
I don't know what to say because I'm like, I don't know. I think that DC is behind Marvel definitely, but Batman versus Superman was one of the better ones. I think so. Like Suicide Squad and like Joss Whedon's Justice League, like some of those movies were shitty. But Batman versus Superman was one of the better ones, in my opinion. And Zack Snyder's Justice League, definitely one of the better ones. But I feel you, sir.
Yeah, I think the top 3 DC movies are Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman, and Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yeah, I think I would agree because I guess I can see it, but I don't know. I just feel like, Zack Snyder definitely did a better job than Joss Whedon's version. That's no question. Definitely could have edited a lot of some unnecessary content out. I mean, I get it, and I do agree with Pat to an extent. When you do some editing, the film is going to suffer, but like there were just some scenes that were completely just overdrawn, and he could have scaled that back, especially like the scene with I cringed too when the girls were singing the Aquaman. It was weird as shit, and it was kind of giving me like creepy cult vibes, to be honest. And I was like, ooh.
Yeah, that scene was pointless.
Yeah, that scene was a waste. And there were a few scenes where I felt like it was a waste. And I also wasn't a fan, like I said, of the way he did Darkseid initially, but the depth that he showed, the more detail of the story he showed with the Amazons in the beginning, with Wonder Woman and that, saving them people in the bank, with the details he went into with Cyborg, and just the depth that he added to all of the characters. Now, the last part of the movie that I want to touch on that, and then I'll wrap up my point, was the Easter egg at the end. So the scene where Batman is having the dream, and in his dream, he is working with the Joker as well as Deadshot. So let's talk about that. Deathstroke. I'm sorry. Yes, yeah, correct. Deathstroke. Wade. Yeah, he's working with Slade Wilson. My man Wilson. So Deathstroke. So let's talk about that. So I don't know what the fuck Zack Snyder's trying to get across with that, but it was just a whole bunch of confusion to me. Now I know that he's hinting at there's some kind of apocalyptic future because of Lois Lane dying. And basically Superman goes apeshit.
Yeah.
But I think his Easter egg was intended to get people excited about the possibility of a sequel coming where they're going to dive a little further into that, and you can see Batman working with two of his, most arch enemies in Deathstroke and in Joker. But it just was a little too vague. It felt like the attempt was just for the scene to be cool as opposed to make sense, because you have Mara there who's also implying that like Superman killed Aquaman. So then it makes you wonder, okay, did Aquaman fail to save Lois Lane? Like, why did he kill Aquaman? Or was Aquaman just opposing him? Right. And I get that the intent was to raise some questions, but at the same time, I think the banter between the Joker and the Batman was okay, but felt a little forced. Like the scene where Batman was like, "I will fucking kill you" or whatever. It just
I love that scene.
I love that scene. It was injustice. I was like,
yeah.
It was like it was there, and I was trying to believe. Like Ben had me there, but I was like, that's about it, man.
Yeah, I mean, I get where he was trying to go with it, but it's just like, that could have been done better. Now, I will say that I am one of those few people who feel like Jared Leto's Joker has not been given a fair shake at things. He has only had a few minutes in each of the movies that he's been featured in. I would love to see some more Jared Leto Joker.
Is that the one from Suicide Squad?
Yeah.
Oh, he's not all that great.
But he's only had a couple of minutes in each one of those movies. Like, it's not like he's had the opportunity to okay, Jerome from Gotham has had more screen time than Jared Leto.
Yeah. Because he was okay. But the dude from like Suicide Squad, he's not that great. He's just not
But my argument is because he hasn't had enough chance.
Right. He didn't have enough time.
I think he's just a filler. I think they're just filling him in until they can find something good. That's just me, because I don't feel like he's like when I first saw Suicide Squad, I was like, man, that wasn't a bad movie. But yeah, Joker just it wasn't. Yeah, but the dude who played I don't even know his name, but the dude who played in that Joker movie, that shit was insane. My mom was like, yo.
You talking about the Joaquin?
You talking about Joker, the latest one that came out.
The latest one that just came out.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was
one of my favorite movies.
That shit got me on the edge of my seat. I was like, damn.
Yeah.
I love that movie, man.
Me too. You know, a lot of comic fans hate it because they said it portrayed Joker as weak. What people don't realize is Joker has no official origin story.
Nope.
There have been many versions of the Joker origin story, from Jack Napier to even Jerome in Gotham to this version of Joker where he's what's his name? Arthur
Fleck.
Yeah, Arthur Fleck. I mean, there's multiple versions of the Joker origin story. It was a different origin story, but was similar in The Killing Joke because he's a comedian that fails at it, right? Which is what this Joaquin Noah's Joker. I mean, Joaquin. I said Joaquin Noah, like the basketball fan. Joaquin Phoenix version was, and I just think people were too still in love with the Jack Nicholson versions and the Heath
Ledgers. Yep.
Yeah, they didn't understand that this is a complete different direction. You're supposed to approach this from the fact that you're seeing a completely different and new origin story of Joker. And I think people were just still too in love with, see the comic, the comic fanatic side of me, and the huge Joker fan that I am, because Batman is my favorite hero, and adversely Joker is my favorite villain. I just think they're the perfect on and off balance of each other. But I was excited, and I thought, first of all, Joaquin knocked it out the park, but he's an amazing actor anyway. But yeah, I love that movie. I went off on a tangent, but that
no worry, no.
Nah, so that's the comic nerd in all of us.
Yeah. So right. Have you guys seen the Justice League Apocalyptic War, Joan? Have you seen that one?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So if you watch that one, for the first time ever, they finally showed who the fuck Batman was and Bruce Wayne really was and whatnot. Because the injustice is that evil. And you saw how easy it was, how they took over Batman's mind. You see? If you watched it and you saw how evil it was, and it took Damian to almost get to his father to make sure that to show that how his injustice is, that where his righteousness comes from. Because I watched that movie so much, I think I watched it at least about 15 times, because I couldn't not stop watching it, because I was like, y'all finally show who the hell Batman was, but y'all keep trying to keep switching them up in all these damn movies. It just felt so good, and I enjoyed it. And I tell everyone that if you have not seen that movie, please go watch it, because it's by far one of the best ones they put out. I think it came out in 2020. Best one, 2020. Y'all need to go watch it if y'all haven't watched it, listeners.
Yeah, I've seen it. I can't say that I recall, because I think that may be one of the ones that I've only seen maybe once or twice, but I definitely have seen it. I've tried to catch up on all of those DC animations that are out there. I think the last one that I did watch was The Killing Joke, but I'm going to go back and rewatch that one. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, just to wrap up my view on the Zack Snyder cut, definitely no question a much better cut than Joss Whedon, and anyone who says otherwise is an asshole. And I would not take their opinions on comic book movies at face value. Not offending you, Emmett. I'm just saying, like, from the perspective of Joss Whedon being a terrible director, or putting that particular movie together, I say Zack Snyder's is much better.
There's nothing wrong with that. I love y'all no matter what. It ain't going to change. But damn it, they need to go recast Ben Affleck for me. That's all I'm asking. This is
said, just change Batman
for me.
And they did. I mean, they did. Well, not recast, but I mean, the one dude from Twilight, he's playing.
Yeah,
Batman,
Robert Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson. Yeah, he's playing Batman, but in a different,
universe.
So I mean, there is another Batman.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it is E-Man. You're gonna get to see Robert Pattinson as Batman too.
Right.
I feel like they just gave Ben Affleck the part and be like, yo, you go play Batman. He probably looked at everybody and be like, yo, I can't do this shit.
It sounds like you're just not a Ben Affleck fan.
Right.
I'm not. That's the reason why.
Okay.
I'll put it like this, right? I'm going to show you what the last movie I seen Ben Affleck is, right? So, like I told you, I love different movies. So there's a Netflix movie called To All the Boys. I mean, it's like To All the Boys or something like that. It's about this little girl, some Asian girl and whatnot. She's dating, and Ben Affleck's playing the father in that Netflix show and whatnot. But he's so soft and distant. Like, I'd be like, that's the dude y'all cast as Batman. I was like, what the fuck? And then didn't he do that movie with Jennifer Lopez and whatnot? Where they gave him like this whole bad boy image and whatnot.
Yeah, that horrible ass movie. G.
And I'm like, why are you giving this fool like these little like, oh, he's some type of bad boy actor and whatnot? No, he's really not, and it just don't work for him. Like, you know what I'm saying? Ben Affleck's like a chill dude, so I'm like, why y'all giving him parts, and why is he getting parts that don't make sense with the man's own personality. It just don't fit well. So when I found out they cast him, I was like, yo, there's nobody else out there. I was like, yeah. I was like, was this because because like, what's his name? Ryan Reynolds played as like Deathpool. He couldn't play Batman. Like,
I mean, I'll just say this real quick. So with Ben Affleck, I mean, you already mentioned the joint with J-Lo, which we all know is bad. Of course, there was Daredevil, which that was another bad one. Even though I would more so blame the direction of it, not necessarily his acting or lack thereof. I think it was more just the direction of that film and the approach. So with him, with Affleck, I mean, he definitely had some bad movies. But if you look at some of his more recent stuff, and like really the stuff that he directed, those are actually good movies. Like if you look at, I don't know if y'all have ever seen The Town.
I've heard of that movie.
What's his face?
It was a good movie.
Yeah, what's his face from Avengers? Played Hawkeye. He's in it too. Jeremy
right, exactly.
That movie. There's another movie called Argo.
Yeah,
Argo was a good
where
movie.
he's a journalist.
He's a journalist, and then which I think he did a good job in that. And then there's another movie called Gone Girl. I was gonna say Gone Girl too. Yeah, that was a really good movie too. So I mean, his more recent stuff, and when I say more recent, I guess within the past like 10, 20 years or so, I mean, it's been good stuff. He's been more consistent, but I think it's just those bad movies from back in the day that people look at, and it's like his name, they're just like, oh, Ben Affleck, man, what the fuck? Like,
100% agree.
Right. It's just one of those things. So when he got cast as Batman, people had that image of him from back in the day, and they're like, why the fuck is he playing Batman? And honestly, and I'm gonna keep it real, when I first heard about him being cast as Batman, I kind of questioned it too. I was just like, oh, really? Out of all the people that they could have got, they got Ben Affleck,
right?
But I was just like, okay, fine, I'm gonna give it a shot, because when they cast certain people, there's a reason why they cast them. So I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna join in and all the hate and all that stuff. I'm like, you know what? Let me give him a shot. Let me see what he can do.
And he did good in Batman versus Superman. It was just that the Justice League movie was shitty. Because Batman versus Superman was his first outing as Batman, and he did a good job.
Right.
It was it was his Batman in Justice League that people were like, oh, he's so whack. And that's because that movie was whack.
Right. And they added jokes in there too. They made him more of a joke, and that was really Joss Whedon that did that. Those were things that were added.
Batman doesn't joke that much. He doesn't. I mean, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, Joss Whedon's version of everything is so watered down and cheesy that it literally got watered down and he literally managed to water down and cheesy one of the most dynamic characters of all time. So that's what happened with that situation. But overall, Ben Affleck, I like him. In what he's done so far, I'm not saying that they should keep him for all of the, sequels to come. But, if it's going to continue on with Zack Snyder and he's going to do another Justice League movie, I'm not opposed to keeping Ben Affleck. I think he would be okay if it's going to, stay along the same character lines. But who knows? We never know.
If he kills off Batman, I'll be happy. In the story.